when a message is so powerful that it inspires a songwriter like John Denver to write a couple songs, you know that that is a powerful message that needs to be put into a book and shared with the world. I can't wait to introduce you to my next guest. Chad Burmeister wrote the book Be Extraordinary. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Suzanne. It's great to see you again.
It's nice to see you. Wow. I mean, to hear that John Denver was inspired by the contents of what is in this book by an intensive weekend. I mean, that is probably your greatest testimony for a book to be sold.
Well, and when you hear the song that John Denver wrote is called The Gift You Are.
Yeah.
And it talks about imagine a month of Sundays, imagine the clouds, imagine a ray of sunlight come shining through.
Mm.
Imagine the sunlight was you. And so,
Wow.
what it really hits you to know that he went through these 4 days, 10, 12 hours a day, a course run by Robert White, who's a friend of mine. I used to cut his grass in the new neighborhood that I live in now
Yeah.
when I was a kid. And he went through this course with John Denver. And on the last day, John Denver was laying on the ground crying. And Robert's like, "Oh shoot, I'm new to working with John. What is this okay? Am I going to be fired?" And so he goes and he sits down, lays down next to him and says, "What's going on for you?" And he looked him in the eye and he said, "I realized I'm more than just a singer. I'm also all of these other things. I'm
Mm.
a husband, I'm a child." And so all of the people in the room that day reflected upon him
Wow.
who he was.
Yeah.
So when I say be extraordinary, there's two key words there, right? Be,
Yeah.
which means be the person God made you to be.
Yeah.
And extraordinary is that he made you to be extraordinary. He made
Yeah.
you to be something that is amazing, right? You're one of one in the world and forever into eternity.
How do you discover who you are and that you're extraordinary? People can say that, but what is the premise of the book? Where do you start to dive in to learn this and believe
So,
it?
yeah, well, the cover, which by the way was going to be on the back of the book, and it was
Okay.
great because we accidentally put it on the front, and it turns out it was perfect. So it says, "Complete your past, tell the truth about your current reality, and then live a better story and be extraordinary."
Wow.
So complete your past. If you think of your life as a book, it doesn't say forget it. It
Right.
says complete it,
Yeah.
right? So by completing it, you can move the page to the here and now. And
Mm.
so that first day and really the first couple of chapters are dedicated to tell me about your childhood, tell me about your middle of your life. What traumas did you experience in there? And then just like a big weight with books in the bag, taking it off and leaving it at the door. In
Mhm.
the latest intensive that we did, one of the people talked about David, like the David and Goliath story. It actually says in the Bible, he left his other things at the door.
Wow.
So leave the stuff behind you, and that's what this book helps you do. We delivered it via a Zoom mastermind kind of a format. Met every week. We listened to a handful of podcasts, and then we go through an experiential exercise. It heavily involves music, is what
Mm.
I've learned by working with Mr. Robert White.
Mm.
And his website, by the way, for anybody who wants to check it out, The Robert White. If you want transformation, go to the source. I got to
Yeah.
give huge credit and honor to a man who's transformed 1.3 million lives, right?
Wow.
I'm the person who gets to help him pass the torch to generations through other people and through this book.
Chad, one of the things you talk about is be truthful about your current reality. Phew, mind blown. That is so huge because when we're not truthful about our reality, even being off 1 degree, when we look back after a year or two, we are in la la land. We're somewhere we weren't shooting for, really.
Well, so here's a perfect example. When we moved back to Colorado 7 or 8 years ago, we moved to Highlands Ranch, close to my brother. They have kids that are about the same age, and it was a great house we lived in. We
Mhm,
built a movie theater in the basement, really cool, and
mhm,
it did its thing for the time. We didn't like the outside. We were it's green, kind of painted, and pretty cool inside. Not a good view of the mountains. So you do that, and then you stay in a routine for 7-8 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pause the tape sometimes and say, wait, now my kids just went to college, my son went, and then my daughter went. Okay, tell the truth about my current reality.
Right.
My parents live 15 to 20 minutes away. Be sure nice to live a little closer.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have a good view.
Yeah.
And maybe that green part of the house I'm not so pleased about, as I never was. And certainly my wife wasn't.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about. Tell the truth. We ended up selling the house. We moved 2.5 miles from my parents. And now they're here once or twice a week.
It turned into an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad, you talk about small groups that you offer kind of ongoing and, so that we don't date this video. How often do you have them and how can people find those as they're ongoing?
It's funny. After the last intensive event, I kind of thought, I'm just going to take my foot off the gas a little and take a break. And then multiple people reached out, and including Robert said, hey, our next intensive's in June. And I was like, yep, I guess it is. So, it's nice. You just go to livingabetterstory.org.
Okay.
And you'll see the virtual groups that we're setting up, and you'll see the quarterly 4-day intensive. All of us need this. And I've been through 3, and every single time I come out with an entirely new look at the world and my current reality and the future that I can create.
It's kind of listening to the Bible. Depending on what you're going through, you go, what? Have I ever heard that story before? But it's so much more real because it's something that you're experiencing or going through. There is a children's version of this book as well. How does that speak to them? And I mean, a lot of kids don't really have that much of a past. What does the kids version focus on and look like?
The 2 common words are be.
Yeah.
Be, and the book's called Be Your True Colors.
Ah.
And I'm not saying like Indian and your, different colors of your skin. I'm talking about
that never even occurred to me. Right.
of our personality, right?
Sure.
Because kids, they're swimming down a stream. Let's just imagine, and that's really what it's based on, is fish, right? That are fish swimming, and they're swimming upstream, and they're going, okay, hey, this way. We're all going up. It's fun. Yay. And they're all gray. And so if you've ever seen the show The Chosen, when the first fish turns blue and then he convinces other fish to turn the other direction and go, wait a second, let's just not follow the herd. Let's discover what we're made for, what our purpose is in life. And so that's really, are you the big fish? Are you the little fish? Are you the part orange and red and yellow, or blue? Or what colors make up you? Because you're one of one. There'll never be another you. There never has been. There never will be.
And above all, your heart is to share the message, the good news with people.
And that's right. At the end of the day, I want people to understand that you were created for a purpose. You matter. Sometimes it might not feel like you matter. You do matter, right? Just like a puzzle. And that's why there's a puzzle on the cover of the book.
I love it.
If there was a missing piece and I sold you a puzzle and said, here, it's $10. And you said, but there's a missing piece. Would you want to build that puzzle? No.
Of course not.
It's very, very important that people understand the piece of the puzzle they are and grow into that. And that's the beauty of life, is trying to figure out what you're extraordinary.
So in 20 seconds, what you want someone to feel, think, do after they read your book?
Complete your past. Tell the truth about your current reality. Live a better story. You're living a good story. What if you could be living a better one? You can.
I love it. Chad, thank you so much. Where's the book available?
If you go to Amazon.com, Be Extraordinary, it should be right on the top of the list.
I'm glad that you joined us today. Thank you for making the world a better place.
Thank you, Suzanne.